And we're back with another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIII. I'm your host, the RPG Guy. Let's keep moving! It is the game that never ends. It's a bunch of hallways full of mobs and bad guys. 'Cause it's a game that never ends. It's just a gauntlet every time. Oh, look! It's the source of all evil. After I just said I was going to use, like, Age of Soul and all those other things we've been kind of sitting on, and I still didn't do it. Ooh. He got laid out.
You're gonna swerve. We survive. Thank you. Thanks. Let's wrap this up. Give it your best shot. You're gonna swerve. You're gonna swerve.
Ooh, I did it to the wrong person.
You're gonna swerve.
Let's do this.
You're gonna swerve. Cheers. You're gonna swerve.
What's going on here?
You're gonna swerve.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we're going to be able to stagger him, though. He's going to be dead anyway. Yeah, another boss wiped out due to buffing and debuffing up the ass. Oh my.
Something strange about that one.
You think? Okay, hold on. Let's do some more Crysterium, because we're almost done with everybody's Crysterium, I think, as far as it's concerned. I think hers is good. Yeah. So it'll be everybody else's that we should be able to finish at this point. Which they were almost done anyway. There we go. His is done. Okay, that looks good. There we go. So that person's done. So they're all done. Let's check Snow. I think that's all you had left. Yup. So where do you spend it? Is the question of the day. To be fair, it really just doesn't matter. We're pretty set with our current team. Because that looks like fun. Because, you know, reasons. Probably unavoidable fights, which kind of makes the use of these two items that we just used a second ago pointless, I guess. I don't know.
I think I'd strain my neck looking up at that.
Yeah, we wasted it. Couldn't get past them. Shoot. Well.
You're going down on your knees. This battle is ours.
Good thing we snuck up on them, because that would have been a really nasty fight. Because now bosses are being implemented into our random encounters.
Thank you. Take down the enemy.
And he's down. 35,000. Jeez, I'm crow. Now they know to just freaking give us money. Hey, look, it's another boss fight. Of bosses, you know, we just fought. This time we can get the drop on them. You know what? We could really get the drop on them. We could try. Well, you can't really. It doesn't look like you can really get around them, so that's fine. Try some debuffs, since nothing else really seems to be helping us too much.
You're gonna squirm. Turn the tide.
One down, one to go.
Gotta stay in control. You're gonna swerve. Let's wrap this up. You're gonna swerve.
And he's down. Cheeky little bastard. Why would I even waste my time with that? Other than CP, which we don't need, so I'm not gonna waste our time with that. Scooch right on by. Again, why waste time dicking around with that? And clearly you don't have to. Or we don't have to, per se. You know there's going to be a boss fight coming up, so why bother? It's pretty much where I get the impression they ran out of ideas. Was about once we got to chapter 13 or less. Here, okay. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, let's get him. Whoops. And he's done.
Don't you go turning teeth on me, you hear? Not after we've come this far.
And then...
What candle is it?
Whee! Thosh, bright and shiny. Okay. It's our last chance to do any real shopping. Can't think of much to do, but let's just grab a few of these just in case. And I want to check gear. Nothing like that. No, not up in arms. It might have been here. Oh no, that was this stuff. Weapons. This is armor. I want to do that. Now, there. There we go. Do something very similar here. There we go. And you might be wondering why do all that? And it really comes down to surviving instant death attacks, if you must really know. Alright, I'm happy with that for the most part. Let's continue. You know, it's pretty much getting to end game here.
Let's do this.
Yeah, they could have cut that whole last area down by like 90%. But no.
Ready?
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Ready.
This is it.
Moment of truth, hero.
I really wish they'd stop calling him a hero. He's still an idiot. They're all idiots, god damn it. Ah!
Life's spark shines on, once freed from its fleshly shroud. Dodge!
Sarah.
It's weird how they look very different, like, you know, they were designed by different people.
Dreams, meanwhile, shatter in a flash. Dodge! No!
Think. Where's the real Sarah?
Hey, listen.
You tell him, Nugget.
It ain't real. It's just Farce smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. They don't work wonders. They play tricks. What?
At last, my errant lousy. Men fight men. Men battle beasts. Cocoon wars with pulse.
I poop in toilet.
There can be no end to such conflict. But Cocoon's end is imminent and inevitable. Will you not at least slay Orphan and make it quick, as an act of mercy?
Mercy? You mean murder. And Cocoon won't die. We're not here for that. We came for you.
Such willful insolence. Disappointing. You prolong Cocoon's suffering. And to what end? Refusing me but condemns another to face your focus tomorrow. If you truly seek salvation, you will obey.
All I hear is, why stop killing me, huh? Oh boy. Boy.
Fulfill your focus and gain eternal life.
Let's wrap this up.
Heal. That's with all our buffs going too.
We can win this. Got your back. Thanks.
Come on, get him. Yeah. Suck on that, Barty. Somebody just got their ass whooped.
Hey, put a lid on it.
That was your quip there, Snow. Oh god, he's taking a big shit. Look out!
All right. Whew. We did it, huh?
Yep. It's a bird again.
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
Two irreconcilable focuses we bore, yet bound were we in a cocoon prison, impervious to our power. And so we thank you for granting us our longed-for birth.
Did I sleep? No, not anymore.
We are the abandoned, born for now to die. Our name is orphan. By our hand shall bring redemption.
Oakley dokley. Here we go. This battle's rough, too. There's a lot of... I would say that this battle is not a battle of skill as much as it is bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can't even control it.
Follow my lead. This battle is ours. Move on instinct. Thanks.
So you can see what we're trying to do here. Just trying to get ourselves in a position to really make a difference in this fight. We learn that really nothing ultimately helps. Let's get him. There we go. Put him in the hurt locker. Get him. We're probably gonna have to do this again, but still, we're doing pretty good. Then we gotta recover from this nonsense, which... Oh!
This battle is ours. The madness ends here.
We'll make sure we stay on the safe side here.
Follow my lead.
Come on. Now you're gonna get it, Bobby! Come on. Come on. And boom shakalaka. But wait, kids, there's more!
Have you ever paused to consider our reason for making lousy of men?
Because you couldn't get the BTS meal at McDonald's.
Purpose, and granted finite power to that end. With men, it is not so.
Mwah.
Men dream, aspire, and through indomitable force of will achieve the impossible. Your power
Isn't that pretty much the villain of most modern Final Fantasy games?
Stop it!
Ragnarok, lead us into the light.
Let her go!
We have no need to flood the sea.
Orphan! I'll do it. I'll destroy you.
Ragnarok, the will to guide a world unto oblivion.
Can you bear?
The sin of our salvation.
You heard me. I said I'll do it!
You can't! I'll be fine. And you can't forget our promise. We promised to save Cocoon. We promised!
I made another promise too. To protect my family.
And to make sure I change my pantaloons 3 times a day. Because the amount of shitting myself in rage is just getting higher and higher at this point.
Fang?
Sometimes. You gotta choose! Back off!
What are you doing? This ain't the time to be losing it, lady!
You too, huh? What do you gain from hurting Vanille? We're in this together. This is my focus. No one's gonna stop me.
You know, this would be a twist if this was actually interesting. And it's not much of a twist anyway, because it's just not. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sure some people find this to be incredibly deep. Me personally, I find this to be
Guys do.
incredibly dumb.
Why? Is this what you meant to happen? All of them.
After all we went through.
Yep, you done goofed. Oh man, they're getting slap happy now.
Guess I deserve it. After what I did. Are they my sin to bear for choosing salvation?
Yes, they are.
Stop it! Give them back!
Salvation is born of sacrifice, miracles of misery. From shattered shards, a new crystal legend will arise.
Boo.
Yes. Let anger be your strength.
Let your hair go crazy and your tail flail wild.
Despair. Despair and save us all. Lo, the day of wrath is come.
The day of wrath is come? You mean the day of wrath has come? Flashbacks, defender of the universe. Nugget. Best part of the game, Nugget. Should I say the only good part of the story? Nugget. And maybe the thought that Snow would get a couple rounds in the forehead. That might have made me happy too. You know, I'm trying here, okay? It's just this. Oh, man. We're at the end of the game and I'm not excited to be here. I mean, I'm excited because my suffering is almost over.
Anger didn't drive us.
I'm not excited because the story is just this mundane and boring and pointless. It's got characters I don't like. It's got a villain who's completely inept and is completely ridiculous and unimpressive. And now here's the thing, is they keep trying to give this story depth, and every time they do, they kind of trip over themselves to do it. And that's the thing, you would have to perceive what the story is trying to tell you to find any kind of depth. But the problem is, it's number one, it's with characters that aren't that interesting, a villain that's barely existent, and then when he is existent, nothing really gets explained until the very end. And I just don't care. And this gauntlet of battles to get to this point was not worth it. That's really the crux of my any argument that can be made.
What do you want?
Steep yourself in hatred. Let it infuse your soul with the strength it craves.
Let's turn this into a dark, dark video. Filled with torture and laughter.
Your awakening demands an offering of pain.
Vanille, run.
No! I swore I wouldn't run away anymore. I'd rather fight and lose than give up without even trying.
By the way, the lip syncing that's supposed to line up, it's the game doing that, not the recording. I'm strictly playing the game, and I'm looking right at it. It's not synced up very well here.
Miracles out of misery. You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Fang. Who'd be dumb enough to swallow that crock?
Sure,
Good thing he said croc and not something else.
You're alive!
but you can't be. Could be more Farce smoke and mirrors.
Fang, I'm sorry.
We made you go it alone. Second time now, isn't it?
But where were you?
Somewhere cold and dark. Just thinking about everything that happened up until now. And then it was like...
It was like I had a glimpse of the future. Everyone was smiling and laughing.
Whereas I'm drinking heavily and getting intoxicated.
Even light.
So, for those of you wondering,
New focus and something.
if you want to know what I'm drinking, I am drinking
Of course.
Russell Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. 55% alcohol.
Next thing I know, I feel
I'm getting
something
fucked up.
right along.
Nugget! Nugget!
You were there too, Fang. Same side.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Together to the end.
Single barrel. You can judge all you want, man. That's the only way you can get through this game. It's heavy drinking. Imagine a teenager trying to make sense of most of this. And if you could, good for you. But, I mean, it uses fancy terminology and crazy language in order to make itself seem deeper than it really is. You want this kind of a story? Go play Grandia 2. They did a much better job of it.
We have a new family.
And that's not a joke. It does a much better job of it.
You hear me?
As far as the elements of, like,
I promise.
destruction of the world to create a new, there's a religion or some kind of belief
We
behind it,
promised, didn't we?
you know? Some kind of religious deity or a government entity. Grandy 2 just did it better. And that game is, what, 10 years older than this one, maybe?
The brand of a lassie. The symbol of the focus we all
And the lousy thing, the branding and stuff is kind of its own thing, but there's other stories that do brands as well.
of the promise we all made.
I got a promise. You fucked up.
The heroes never die. Come on. We've got a world to save.
If we have the power to destroy Cocoon, then we have the power to save it. You say you want your day of wrath, do ya? Well, it's coming right up.
With a side of curly fries.
What they really want.
Curly fries? I really do want some curly fries right now. Oh, my controller is dead. Flashing the gang signs.
We can do it.
We can do it. We can make our dreams come true. We can do it.
Right.
'Cause we're lightning, snow, and fang. Zaz and hope to. I think I left one out. No, I didn't. Or did I? It's mainly because I don't give a shit. You Yevon?
No, we overreach you.
Is that so?
You don't believe in anything.
We believe in a double quarter pounder with
You gave
cheese.
up on life before you were even born. Sat poisoning Cocoon from the inside, waiting for someone to come and destroy you.
Gotta love how it desynced like that.
The end of the world is salvation. All you care about is death's release. So take it, and leave the rest of us alone. We don't think like that.
I love that trombone smear. It just ruins the mood.
We keep looking until we find some. Maybe Cocoon is past saving, but it's our home, and we'll protect it or die trying. We live to make the impossible possible. That is our focus.
Oh my, it's a giant clock of doom.
Road to hell. Take down the enemy.
Let's do it.
Your wrath.
So this fight is... I don't remember much of it, to be honest with you. Let me bust that just for laughs. Because it's on a timer. Might have screwed this up too right out of the gate. And boom goes the dynamite. And if I was speedrunning, that'd be time. No joke. It would be. And there it is. Oh my god, my nipples are blowing up. Ah! Goodbye, babyface killer. Goodbye. See you next time.
We're here to stop him. We've come to save Cocoon, right?
Oh, my eyes! Oh, that's blinding light! Love how it's like the Crystarium expanded, so you're thinking, oh god, there's more. Technically, yes, but not really. Oh man, not my drinking bottle!
Stay together!
Hey, grab my hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Fang! Vanille!
Vanille?
Wishes can come true. But not if you just wait for miracles.
You gotta make them happen on your own, and there's the end of the lesson.
Things we make for ourselves. Here and now.
I will destroy the world with an endless list of high fives! We will not allow a second Sephiroth! And I guess it desynced again. Okay. Okay.
Wake up.
I'm trying to. That cutscene put me to sleep. I don't know what to say. It's my fault. Clearly. As it would seem.
No, they gave us a new one.
That's one gift I'll forgive him for not rapping.
Yeah.
This is as much as we can do. The rest
Yeah.
is up to you.
Does this mean we completed our focus?
Cocoon's seen better days, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'd say that qualifies as a demolition. Focus complete.
Whatever you want to believe.
Oh, God.
It really is a miracle.
My brand! It's gone!
It's easy to lose sight of things in a world as wide as this one. But if you keep going, you're sure to find what you're looking for, sooner or later.
Hmm?
Whole big bunch of chocobos.
Get him, Nugget!
Look there.
Sarah!
It is.
Nice!
Snow!
Sarah!
Hope get fucked. No. Don't you do it. He doesn't deserve it.
They're gone, aren't they?
Yeah, smushed into a million pieces.
I guess they meant for this to be goodbye. And again,
Oh, I thought he meant his mom.
we changed our fates before.
Come on.
Okay.
I missed you.
Sarah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Hey, come on, the apologies can wait. We got a wedding to plan. What? You are gonna allow it,
Wow.
right?
You don't waste any time, do you?
No, I don't.
And the big orgy begins. And Nugget's recording it. Oh my god.
Make her happy.
I believe you. Congrats.
Those are not supposed to be like this game's version of doves, please.
When prayers turn to promises, not even fate can stand in their way.
We held the light of hope in our hearts and achieved the impossible. Now we live on to greet a new dawn.
And there it is. The suffering that is Final Fantasy XIII. Beautiful looking game, to a degree. I feel that, I guess let's break this down. Okay, characters, pretty much Zaz is the only interesting one, and once his arc is kind of settled, you're sitting there in your own head like, why? Why do I care? Okay, so that's a big one. As far as the, things like the character designs and stuff, I could care less, because Final Fantasy games have always had decent designed characters, maybe with the exception of 8 being a little bland. So there's that element that I don't really care too much about. So what's my beef with this game is, number one is, again, the characters are just awful. They're not very likable. They try to play it up as much as they can by the end, and I think it's a victim of the story's not good at all. The character development is very weak, and I think the way they tell the story as well, with all the flashbacks and going back and forth, and it's like trying to tell a Quentin Tarantino jump around Pulp Fiction story. It didn't work. It clearly doesn't work. When you understand what the story is about, it's simple yet convoluted at the same time. The convolution comes from the terminology and the way that they describe the world they exist in, which that's the convoluted part. Structurally, it's very simple. the problem is like I've always said, you can have the most simple stories as long as they're well written. This is a simple story that's not well written. Okay, and to cover up the fact that it's not well written, they used weird terms and things that really had nothing to do with the effect of the story. You could have named them minions. You could have named them. You could have named them. You could have used all these different names. That would have been a lot easier to connect everything. And at the end of the day, it still wasn't relevant. Okay, my beef is that there's good things that there's a couple of good things that could have come from the story, and the story never took that road. The other element of it too is everybody complained it was a hallway syndrome. I don't like to call it that. I think it was a gauntlet. It was just a straight up gauntlet of battles to get you from point A to point B, which point A is the beginning of the game, point B is the end of the game. There is no actual strategy getting from those locations, getting yourself, in a sense, through the game. And that's the problem. This is what 10 actually did decently, because I could compare 10 and 13 with the hallway syndrome very easily. The thing with Final Fantasy X was, number one, it was exploratory. The world was an exploration. It wasn't seeing this gauntlet of fights going and going. You could run from fights even and skip them much more easily in that if you wanted to. The world was more diverse. It was more colorful, more imaginative. Final Fantasy XIII's world is a lot of cyberpunk, or not cyberpunk really, just cybernetic kind of futuristic-y looking things, and they took this theme too far. They took it so freaking far that places started looking the same to a mild degree, and they didn't have any story to fill you in between a lot of what was going down. So the problem is like, look at the Cradle, chapter 13. It was all in one location, right? And so it being all in one location, they had to make us waste multiple hours in that location with little to no context to story or anything else. It was just fight after fight after fight with 3 boss fight gauntlets, 4, I think. And then you get to the final boss. So there was no point of that. There was none. There was fucking none! Okay, it was just wasting time. And that's what I felt a lot of this game was wasting time to get to the other elements. In prior Final Fantasy games, you had to explore. You had to find cities. You had to go to find locations in the world. You got to explore cities and villages and dungeons. You got to actually explore them. Here, you really didn't get to do it, and there was not much of a reward for doing the little bit of exploration you could do, which was in chapter, what was it, 11? I think with where you're on Grand Pulse. So a lot of that was pointless. The villains in the story were pretty lame. There's some people who have gone out of their way to defend Bart, and I'm not. I'm just going to be one of those people that are like, no, he's one of the worst villains in Final Fantasy history. Because it's that problem that even modern entertainment is having. The villain isn't drawn out and isn't built. We don't really know anything about Bart, other than he's a big asshole. And that's really not what makes, in a sense, a good story. You have to explain why he's a big asshole in vivid detail and get to that moment. Or you have to, or you have to tell it in such a tightly knit pack that it's easy to understand. So like Kefka, for example, he doesn't have a lot of backstory, but we know what happened. He's still shrouded in mystery as a villain, but we know why he's an asshole. Okay? Sephiroth, we kind of know why he's an asshole. Okay? Golbez, we kind of know why he's an asshole. These stories did a better job doing it than this one. To be fair, Final Fantasy is probably the worst example of having great villains, because really most people only remember 2 out of the entire 13 games that have existed, and that's really Kefka and Sephiroth. Kuja probably is a late entry third, and then people don't really think of like Exodus or Exdeath, or Zemus, being the villain technically of Final Fantasy IV, and the Emperor of Final Fantasy II. To be fair, I'm not trying to defend that element. What I will say for sure is that my beef with 13 is that the story is not worth the gauntlet of battles that pretty much are on autoplay. The only thing you do is technically change the tactics. So the battle system didn't help. So we're getting away from the story. So the world layout, right, was pretty lame. Okay, it was pretty lame. The concept of the battle system sounded probably pretty good on paper, so you can enjoy the visuals of combat and all of that, but at the end of the day, there was nothing to it. I'm sitting here smashing the A button 90% of the time. Bored out of my mind, as you guys clearly could see through the entire gameplay. I don't think that this gameplay is good, and they abandoned it pretty much right after. And that's one of my big things, Square Enix. You need to go back to the old school style. Just fucking shut your mouth, bite the bullet, go back and make good fucking games the way you used to. You know who helped you with that? Was Hironobu Sakaguchi. Okay, Final Fantasy X was beloved for a big reason. Okay, and a lot of it was the gameplay kept you involved in the game, while the story kept you involved. So the gameplay makes you feel like you're supposed to be having this big achievement, this big battle, this big drawn out, story, and your epic strategy and the way you built your characters up. All of those things are relevant to the feeling you get when you succeed. Because this game runs on autopilot in probably one of the worst ways I can fathom and imagine. Because it runs on autopilot like that, you don't feel that way. You just feel like here's some busy work in order for you to enjoy the next part of the game. If you want to see the next episode of Final Fantasy 13, you have to sit here and do this. And you don't feel that growth. And the game limits you too, because you can only grow so much in every chapter. Again, alleviating the ability for the user to feel like the player to feel like they're actually doing something of value, right? Just getting from cutscene to cutscene, to me, doesn't make me feel like I'm progressing through something. It makes me feel like I've been given homework. Oh, here's your homework. You got to get through da 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 before you can do da 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 da. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as the homework, or in this sense, the getting from cutscene to cutscene, is entertaining and interesting. I'll be the first to tell you it fucking isn't. It's annoying as shit, and it sucked. It sucked. It fucking sucked. And there is no realm of thinking that I can give you guys that ultimately would justify anything that we fucking sat through. This entire game, to me, was a dud. I think that it was popular because I think a strong point of the kind of the fanboys, the people that really love this kind of stuff. If you're really, really, really into the franchise, that's great. I'm glad for you. Okay, look at all that we can do now. I'm glad you like this game. I'm glad this game does what it needs to do to satisfy you. For me, it's just another game. It's just, to me, another, I hate to say it, failed Final Fantasy. And it's a shame that that's the way it goes. That's the way it is. And again, like I said, I have a lot of love for the franchise. But at the end of the day, this is kind of where I felt that it kind of died. With respect to that, what's the after game? You can go back to Grand Pulse and you can do all the Lacis stuff, missions that you weren't strong enough to do. You can fight all those enemies you couldn't beat before, so there's all that. Again, like I said, if you like this game, that's great. Okay, but I don't see a means to defend it objectively. It's a beautiful, other than the things that I've said, it's visually very beautiful, but the Crystarium is a farce. It's just filler, as far as I'm concerned. The fact we did not have access to this at any point in the game, to me, the full thing is just ridiculous. And I get it's to prevent grinding, but then, so that way the game's still a challenge, but the game never was a challenge at almost any point anyway. So, doing that prevented nothing. So, I feel that the gameplay in this game is very weak. I feel that the story is really awful. Hate the characters. Again, like I said, I can sit here and be honest with you guys and find a good element to the game, which is there's a good presence of story. What I mean is that there's so much potential in the story that it could have been a contender. But I think this game is just so full of itself in certain ways and elements. It is trying to appease so many people, and I think in its attempt to appease so many fans that have different thoughts and beliefs and so many different perceptions of what they like about different Final Fantasy games. In the attempt to appease everyone, they appeased, in my opinion, pretty much nobody. And why even the biggest diehard Final Fantasy 13 fans go, it's a meh game. It's not bad. It's not the greatest Final Fantasy, but it's a meh. And I sit there and look at them and I go, so you're saying it's the best Final Fantasy, but you say it's a meh game. Get fucked. Anyway, we made it, guys. We finally got through the shit show that is Final Fantasy 13. Now, some of you might be saying, if you're never going to play this again, why are you doing it? I'm just doing it to fill in time. But yeah, ultimately, we're never going to play this game. I'm never going to play this game again. I've gotten everything I can get out of it. I don't see any further entertainment that could be had for me replaying this again, unless somebody was freaking paying me out the ass to do it. Because, like I said, there's so many better games out there that you could be playing right now. And to me, this was the biggest dud of the modern age of Final Fantasies, for sure. Final Fantasy 15 is better than this one. I will give it that. And I do think that there are other better JRPG games that are out, and better JRPG games that came out at the same time this did. So for me, that's really my beef with a lot of that. So, anywho, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Please check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JackDarcy for more live gaming action. Because when we come back, we're going to be playing a different game. Many of you are going to ask, are you going to play the other two Final Fantasy 13 games? The sequels? I have them. I'm probably going to stream them before I play them, because I've actually never played them. I was so pissed off with the performance of this game overall that I never actually played the sequels. So when I blind play a game, I exclusively do it on my YouTube channel, or on my Twitch channel specifically, sorry. So I am going to be doing that at some point. But I definitely need a break from these farcical characters, this shitty story, and the terrible, horrible gameplay, which I would fear for my life would be coming back in the frickin' second and third game. So, and then I've heard the second game's not as good as the first, and I'm like, well, that's not making me want to play it anytime soon either. So anyway, thanks guys for stopping by. I'm your host, the RPG Guy, here at Jack Dart Studios. We did it, we finished it, and god damn it, we're done with it. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and we will see you guys next time. I'm gonna fucking set this fucking game on fire.